Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Joshua Swift from A Happy Life podcast and author of Becoming Happy, a guide to self-care and holistic well-being. In this video, I will show you how to complete a cognitive restructuring worksheet. I will be using Excel for this presentation, but feel free to use any program that fits best for you, or even a paper and pencil if you'd like. Let's start with making the worksheet. First, you will want to create 8 columns. Label the first one date and time. Then the second one, situation. The third one, emotion. Then intensity. And give that one a 1 to 100 rating. Then thoughts, cognitive distortion category, and then evidence for and against. And finally, replacement thought. Feel free to shade and bold this top one to make it stand out. Now, we can move on to creating the rows. It is important to recognize that in any given situation, you may have several thoughts that contribute to an emotional experience. So we want to create several thought rows for each emotion. 4 should be enough, but feel free to allow for more or less depending on what you end up needing. To do this, highlight the first 4 cells in the date and time column. Then click Merge and Center. Then do the same for situation, emotion, and intensity. You can now number your thoughts if you would like. And then outline this set of rows. Now you will want several of these in your worksheet to be able to do multiple thoughts over the course of a day or a week. And so copy this and paste them below. Now to filling it out. Let me show you how to do this with a specific example. Let's say you just had a meeting with your boss for a performance evaluation. Your boss mentioned some of the things that you're doing well, but also several things that you have not been doing correctly. And so now you're feeling pretty sad and discouraged. Okay, so you go to the first column in the first row and you write the date and time. In the situation box, you write performance eval with boss. Now, I mentioned sad and discouraged for the emotion. So put one down in the first row and the other in the second. For this video, we are just going to work through one of these. It should give you a good example of what to do for the others. For intensity, you write down how strongly you feel that emotion. 1 means barely any of that emotion at all, and 100 is the most extreme you can imagine. In this case, let's say the sadness is moderately intense, so you give it a score of 75. Now, after reflecting on it a bit, you realize that you have 3 main thoughts from this situation. The first one is, my boss thinks I can't do anything right. The second one is, I am going to get fired. And then finally, your third one is, I am a failure. Now turn to your list of cognitive distortions. You can find a list of common cognitive distortions online or in my book, Becoming Happy. And for each thought, you identify the most fitting cognitive distortion. So we go back to the first one. My boss thinks I can't do anything right. This seems to be mind reading because you are making a guess about what your boss's thoughts are. And then it's also mental filtering. Because you're only paying attention to the negative things that were said during the performance evaluation. Then we go to the thought, I am going to get fired. Now, this is fortune telling because it's a prediction about the future. It's also catastrophizing because it's blowing up the consequences of something that may not have been a big deal. Finally, the thought, I am a failure. This one is labeling. Now you go back to each thought and you evaluate it from a more objective stance. For example, what would a best friend or a loving grandparent say if they got to observe the entire situation and then you told them these thoughts? So, for my boss thinks I can't do anything right. You remember that she did share some positive feedback during the performance evaluation. You also remember that she obviously sees some positive traits in you that led her to hire you in the first place. For I am going to get fired. It hasn't happened yet, and you think she probably would have fired you during the performance evaluation if your mistakes had been that bad. So you guess that the chance of you getting fired because of this is maybe only 10%. And the chance of you keeping your job is 90%. Then, for I am a failure, you recognize that you have made mistakes, but you have made mistakes in the past and you were able to learn from them and correct them. And although your job isn't going perfectly, you recognize that you are a really good friend and you're a great artist, and your parents are really proud of you. The final step is to come up with replacement thoughts. For the first one, you put down, I am not sure what my boss thinks of me, but I can show her that I am a hard worker. For the second one, you put, I will probably keep my job, and this is a chance for me to show my work ethic. And then for the last one, you put down, I am worthy, even if I make mistakes. Then, if you wanted, you could think about your sadness again and see if this 75 has changed, or if it's lessened or you feel it at a different intensity now. Then once you're done with the sadness, go through the whole process again for the feeling of discouragement that you also wrote down. Now, doing this one time may help you get through a difficult emotion that you are experiencing. But ideally, you would work to make this process more natural. So in the moment, you can identify your thoughts and challenge them. But that can take time and practice. So if you want to get really good at cognitive restructuring, complete this worksheet anytime you feel a negative emotion for the next several weeks. And if you struggle with it at all, a therapist may be able to help you work through it and get you past your stuck points. Well, I hope you found this video tutorial on cognitive restructuring useful. Please check out our other wellness tools on our YouTube channel. And if you want to learn more about the science of happiness, please tune in to our podcast, A Happy Life. Take care until next time.